So today we're going to look at Saturn 3, which has just come out on Scream Factory. It's an interesting film. It gets really a bad rap. When it came out, it didn't do well, was dismissed by critics, and then more recently, upon its Blu-ray release, again it's been bashed by a large, over half of the reviews have bashed the film pretty solidly. Some accusing it of being camp. I don't really see it as much of a camp film. It's actually quite morose and dark for the most part. The inclusion of Farrah Fawcett might lead people to believe it's quite camp, but it really isn't. The film is a little bit dystopian in many ways, and I think an underrated sci-fi film. Now, from the title and from its reputation, you might think it was some low-budget schlock, but actually it had a pretty big budget, and it was directed by famed filmmaker Stanley Donen, who did Singing in the Rain and Charade, and it starred Farrah Fawcett, Kirk Douglas, and Harvey Keitel. Legendarily, Harvey Keitel was overdubbed by somebody else. They were wanting more of a neutral accent rather than his thick American accent, so they overdubbed him, and it actually was one of the best overdubs I've seen. It works quite well. It's quite disturbing. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the film before we have a look at the Blu-ray. It's about two scientists who are stationed deep beneath the barren surface of Saturn's third moon, Titan. They live together in isolation in kind of a space-age Eden, but their world is interrupted when Harvey Keitel's character arrives, and as Saturn goes into the eclipse and cuts off communications with the rest of the solar system. Of course, Harvey Keitel's character introduces a robot helper named Hector, and things start to get a little bit crazy. The film itself, despite some strangely mixed reviews, of some saying that it doesn't look that great, and others more correctly insisting that it looks fabulous, it does look really, really good, especially for an older film that obviously doesn't have much money behind it to get a full restoration. Obviously the print was in fairly good condition. There's very few blemishes or scratches. The colours are good. There's a little bit of judder on the opening credits at the beginning, but other than that, I haven't watched it all the way through, but I've watched large portions, just checking out the sound and visual quality throughout parts of the film, and it looks really, really good, much better than I would have thought, and much better than a lot of other films from the period with better name value. So good transfer. It's in the full 1080p and the 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. Has good sound. Has the original 2.0 mix, and also a master audio stereo 5.1, which I think is really good. It sounded really nice and bassy coming through. A lot of real rumble of the engines was really thick and vibrant. Good separation, and the back speakers for atmosphere. So either or is fine, depending on your preference, really. So audio and visuals are really good. The special features. We have a commentary by Greg Moss, who runs a Saturn 3 fan page. I listened to a part of the commentary. It's moderated by film critic David Bradley. But I suggest you go to the Saturn 3 fan page, which Greg Moss runs, to see a lot of interesting information about the very troubled history and problematic production of Saturn 3, and talks about alternate cuts and deleted scenes, etc. I'll put the link for that down in the description. Also has interviews with the screenwriter, the special effects artist Colin Shivers, and actor Roy Dotrice. I think that's how it's pronounced. He is the one who did the voiceover for Harvey Keitel. So it's quite an interesting interview. Also has deleted scenes. Some of them were for the ones that were included in the television broadcast, and there's one sort of famous deleted scene where, which is the only campy scene you can find, this famous deleted scene where they take ecstasy and go into sort of a dream mode, and which is incredibly campy, and I can see why it's not in the preferred cut here. And also the theatrical trailer is included, so pretty good set of special features for a film that has been quite dismissed by a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying the film is great, but it's certainly very interesting, and I find it entertaining and very interesting, and also the history of the film is quite interesting, but a great film would be a bit of a stretch. Now, there we go, the back. And there's the discs coming on Blu-ray and DVD, and let me pop those out. Pictures in behind there. Okay, so Saturn 3, if you're unsure, if you want to check this out, if you haven't seen it before, you can probably watch it on YouTube or rent it on DVD, but I wouldn't go by the critical reviews. I think it's one that has to be seen by each individual to make a judgment call on.